In a world of EMS podcasters, EMS Office Hours is the only live podcast bringing you the latest topics and opinions in EMS. Turn down your scanner and turn up your speakers as we join Jim Hoffman and Josh Knapp on their latest EMS podcasting journey.
Hey, Jim Hoffman here for EMS Office Hours. Going to give you a quick podcast today and ask you a question of what your EMS superpower is. Guys, before I do that, I just want to ask you, please, after the show, head on over to iTunes to the link on this page, or you can go to emsseo.com/iTunes, and you can be sent directly to the iTunes page for the show, and leave me a quick rating or review. It really helps me out, guys. Keeps me on the kind of the focus of iTunes, and lets them know that people are listening to the show. Okay, even though we've got 5,000-6,000 subscribers and followers on iTunes, the ratings and reviews are what actually, believe it or not, that's what iTunes looks at. So if you can just do me a favor and do that, it would really help, guys. And of course, if you like the show, please recommend it to a friend or a colleague, and let them know about the show as well. So, what do I mean when I say your EMS superpower? It's kind of corny, right? Saying, you're an EMS superhero, or, you and your partner are like Batman and Robin, right? The thing is, or Ant-Man and Wasp even, right? When I say that, I don't mean a hero in the sense of you're a hero, that they talk about where you're running into some place that's very dangerous and grabbing somebody and whatever. And I know a lot of us do that sometimes even on a daily basis, right? When I'm talking about hero and understanding that element is knowing what sort of your EMS superpower is, what your partner's is, and that's what makes you sort of that little superhero team every day on that ambulance, right? Now, the superpowers I'm talking about, guys, are things like your skill set, right? A lot of us are stronger in some skill sets than others. Some of us are really good at getting IVs, right? And you end up being able to get an IV on the toughest of sticks, right? Back in the day, I was really good at intubating before that was kind of taken away from a lot of agencies and, moving into King Tube and stuff like that. Where, I would intubate somebody in the weirdest positions and the tightest of situations, and my partner knew that was sort of my superpower, right? And that I could be counted on to get that done, okay? And I've worked with people who were really good at reading 12-lead EKGs, especially back when it was very new, and I wasn't really well-versed in that at all. So if I wasn't sure what that EKG was reading, I could hand it to my partner, and her superpower for me was knowing that there really was something going on with that 12-lead EKG, right? And I think it's important for us to kind of identify that with the people that we work with on a regular basis, okay? What's that superpower? What's your partner's and yours sort of superhero powers when it comes to EMS and a skill set or a knowledge base of some type, right? You might be really good at knowing sepsis. You might know all the ins and outs of that, okay? And that can be a superpower, right? That's something that you can be that go-to person on a call that understands that. Now, sure, we all have to be well-versed in this stuff. We all have to be knowledgeable about the entire EMS job, right? But sometimes for whatever reason, a certain skill set, a certain knowledge subject of knowledge of a subject kind of gravitates towards you. Will gravitate towards your partner for whatever the reason may be. Okay? That's just like with the military. Not everybody can be a sniper, right? It takes a certain person to be a sniper. Not everybody can be a Navy SEAL. It takes a certain type of person to do that, right? But yet, everybody in the military knows how to fire a weapon and hit a target, right? You have to qualify for that type of thing, okay? Everybody in the military has to run a certain amount of miles, okay? But not everyone can be a SEAL. Not everyone can be a sniper, okay? Or a ranger, or airborne, or whatever the case may be. And the same thing kind of applies to EMS, right? That is sort of the niche that you're in, and you have to figure out what it is that you're really good at. And man, and I suggest that if you find out that you're really good at a certain skill, or you're really knowledgeable where you've actually mastered a particular topic, okay, to go ahead and tout that. Go ahead and tell people that. Let them know that, all right? So that if you're ever working with that person, or if somebody has a question, because we're not always all together with other people that work at our organization, right? And they might be on a call where they couldn't get an IV, or they didn't know what was going on with that sepsis patient, or they couldn't read that 12 lead. But you know what? When you are sort of advertising or letting people know that that's your comfort zone, that you're really good at that skill or that subject, or your partner is, on particular subjects and whatever, that after a call, they'll come and seek you out and ask you, what do you think about this EKG? I had a patient that was this. I thought this, but I know you're really good at knowing it. What do you think, right? And believe it or not, that even though that call will be done, you helping that person sort of identify or validating what they thought, or kind of pointing out some other nuances they may have missed, will help them in the future with patients that they encounter. So it's not just actually a skill or a knowledge of a subject on a call you might be on with your partner that can help. It can be something that somebody else experienced and they're looking for your guidance. So when you identify what you're really good at, and you probably already know what that is, go ahead and, like I said, advertise it. Tell people this is what you're comfortable with. You know, this is what you know a lot about, okay? One of my superpowers with my websites, right? I'm really good at helping people study and prepare for protocol exams, right? I'm really good at helping people understand and know how to take exams, right? How exams are created, what they're all about, okay? That's sort of my main superpower on my websites. Yes, there's a lot of other things that I do, but that's sort of like my main thing, right? And again, guys, I can go on and on, right? There's so many little things, if you think about it, that are really out there, that you might have one or two or even three of those little superpowers in EMS that are important to you. It could be giving a call report to the emergency room. You might be really good at calling in a report. You might be really good at talking to a medical control doc and understanding how to speak to those doctors, right? A lot of people get flustered when it comes to doing those things, okay? So, like I said, guys, it could be various things. It could be one or two things. It could be maybe even, 3 or 4 or 5 things. The key, like I said, is to identify what that is, what your partners are, and know that when you're on a call that you are a team and you can rely on each other for those elements from each other when it gets difficult, when it gets tricky, okay? So identify that stuff for you and your partner, guys. Go ahead and make sure that you let others know, okay? And you don't have to be obnoxious about it, right? But you can sort of talk about it in front of the people. Oh yeah, we had this thing, we had this call. It was such a hard stick with somebody. But you know what? Jimmy went ahead, man. He was really good. He got that IV. He's like the best at that, right? And that's how people get to know that that's what your skill set is. That's what you're really good at. That's what your knowledge base is strongest, okay? And then when they have difficulties with that IV, they have difficulties with that airway, difficulties with, again, maybe something with sepsis or an MI or a stroke or whatever the case may be, after a call, when they struggle, trust me, they will seek you out. They will ask you what you thought about it, okay? And there's nothing wrong. If you're one of those people that seek that out, there's nothing wrong with that either, right? Because even if you have your own superpower, when it comes to EMS, you might still be weak in other areas and then have to seek somebody else out, right? Batman seeks out Superman. Wonder Woman seeks out Batman. All that for different skill sets. I know it's kind of corny, guys, thinking about all this stuff as being superheroes and all, but I'm trying to let you know that every superhero out there has specific powers that add and lend to their superhero status, okay? And you can do the same thing, okay? But it applies to, of course, EMS in the ambulance with your partner and other EMS professionals, okay, and how you apply it, okay? So that's my take on it, guys. I hope it makes sense to you a little bit. I love to know what yours is, what your little EMS superpower is. Send me an email. I'd love to hear about it. Or you can comment, of course, in the show notes or even on iTunes and let me know what your superpower is as well, okay? The email, of course, is jhoff@emsseo.com, or you can use contact@emsofficehours.com. Okay, very easy to get a hold of me. You can get me on Instagram. I'm at EMS Safe on Instagram as well. So great ways to get a hold of me and to contact and engage with me, guys. Let me know what your EMS superpower is. I'd love to know where people's strengths and weaknesses are. Okay? All right, guys. That's it for me. Like I said, I hope it makes sense. I hope you enjoyed this episode with a little lighter fare, but I think also something that we often overlook or don't give ourselves enough credit for. This is a hard job, a lot of the skills, a lot to know, a lot to understand, and if you can master a small handful of those things where they're sort of your superpowers, it goes a long way. All right, guys, that's it for me. As always, I'm Jim Hoffman for EMS Office Hours. Stay safe.